Right. Welcome to Men Check-In. Has everyone read the ground rules? Or has anyone not read the ground rules? Please raise your hand. That's easy. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or change or take away or haggle with the ground rules? Or are you quite comfortable with them all? So just to say, three key ones are you can say pass at any stage, so there's no pressure. One of the ground rules is play bigger than the rules. So it's not about being small and nice so everyone likes you. It's like, say what's really going on. And if something comes out, then we can clear it up later, but don't play small and sell yourself short. And number three is obviously confidentiality, and that's straight out the window because this is being recorded and this is to show other people how to do a check-in. So to start, seeing as we're all cool with the ground rules, 2 minutes silence that will cut down to 30 seconds. So here we go. So used to 2 minutes that I just feel like I've cheated myself and all of you, but never mind. Shall we start with your name, how you feel right now, and how you are with COVID-19 or lockdown or, I don't know, the latest stuff in the news or whatever's up for you right now. What I'll do, because we're online, is I'll call names, and if you want to say pass, then you can say pass and I'll come back to you. So, Jamie, do you fancy starting?
Sure, Kenny, no problem. Okay, so my name's Jamie. Right now, I feel a little bit apprehensive because we're kind of at that turning point of going from being in lockdown, not being able to see family, to everything being relaxed. And one thing that's come up for me recently is the fear of everything kind of settling back into how it was before, and all of those kind of, all that potential for starting anew and starting on a new path, sort of individually and collectively. I worry that, that might just fall by the wayside. And just seeing what's happening in the States at the moment, and also how the British public is kind of, some people are doing their own thing, and yeah, I just worry that I may have been over optimistic about how much positive can come out of this. So that's just something that kind of is weighing me down at the moment. Yeah, it'd be good to explore a bit more.
Thank you.
And I think that's for me for now.
Cool. Thank you. Duncan?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's great to be here, actually. And I guess I'm feeling fear and in my stomach area, and I feel quite a lot of that these days. I feel fear in my body, in my bottom, down my thighs, up in my belly, going down my legs, and it's fear, and then sometimes it turns into panic. I think it's because, it's brought up my early stuff, if you like, and where I didn't feel I could run to anybody or get cuddled And so at the moment, I don't see my pals at the church who give me hugs. I don't see my pals at MenSpeak who give me hugs, and lots of talking and being together. So I'm finding it really difficult, and I weep quite a bit, especially in the mornings. And so I'm just longing for things to get back to some semblance of how it used to be. I'm just finding it so hard. That's me.
Please come to the check-ins.
Yeah,
and whatever groups.
I've lost hope a bit, so I haven't been going to the check-ins. I think partly because I'm ashamed of how upset I am, and how I'm always saying the same things, you know, like I'm feeling scared and all that stuff. But I really must start going to the check-ins.
You're cared for, and I feel not just respected, but your fear and pain and stuff like that would allow everyone else to say, I feel scared, or I'm in pain, or I'm grieving, or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
But you're welcome. You're always welcome.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Thanks, Kenny. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today on this special session. Yeah, it's really good. I generally have really enjoyed the lockdown. You know, I live in central London. It's been a pleasure to be in central London when it's been completely quiet. The lack of commerce or people on the streets has been beautiful. I've taken a couple of long rides through central London in the last few weeks. There's been no one there. Going down Oxford Street, no one there. I think it's been good. I feel like I've been quite privileged during the lockdown. It's been good. I've been working on my own business, been working on my corporate job as well. I've seen lots of good things from this for Londoners. I mean, so many more people have got on bikes now. I think that's brilliant for London. People really enjoying themselves, enjoying nature. People really appreciating trees and going to parks now. I think it could be quite a beneficial thing for society, or London society. So overall, I feel hopeful for the future. Good to be where I am, and happy for this long-term heat wave we've been having, and long may it continue for the rest of the summer. So yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you. Matt?
Hey guys. So I'm feeling really energized at the minute. And just from being on this call, I was a little bit flat not too long ago. I've been wrestling with my need to be in action and high energy, with trying to chill out a little bit and take a slower pace. And I've found that over the last week or so, I've been getting a bit too comfortable with the chilled and relaxation. And I've been moving into a bit more of a lazy sense. So I'm on a little bit of a swing at the minute. So I'm trying to find that balance. With the lockdown and this whole period, I've loved it. From a self-reflection point of view, I think it's been a phenomenal chance to really peel back some layers. I miss family. I miss friends. It's my granddad's birthday tomorrow. Really would love to just go and celebrate with him, but he's 86, so still it's that uncertainty and just making sure that he's safe first and foremost. So just sent him some presents, and then we've already said that we'll do a big party once it's safe to do so. So just being sensible with it. But overall, like I said, I've really enjoyed taking the time, because it's made me very uncomfortable, especially at the beginning, and it really challenged my challenge my mindset. For example, I started freaking out when we first went into lockdown and I could see the gyms were closing, and I was getting into a really healthy routine. Gym closed, and I'm like, fuck, that's going out the window. I've even got this, well, it's gone now, but we bought this emergency box, my wife and I, of just like absolute junk food. Never keep junk food in the house because I will demolish it. And we kept that there for if it was like, right, you know, if it's doomsday and like, you know, all the pasta's emptied out or whatever, then we go for this box.
What, cream eggs or something?
Huh?
Cadbury's cream eggs or something?
It was literally everything. I'm not a major fan of Cadbury, but list anything else and it was probably in the box. Doomsday never came, but the box got emptied pretty quickly. And so that's the thing I was panicking about. And then very quickly, it really forced me, like once I started getting that real uncomfortableness of shit, like I can't keep fit, I'm going to self-destruct with all this. It started triggering all these other patterns of uncomfortableness and all these external needs. And then after a week, it completely started to shatter. And I was like, oh shit, like actually I don't need a lot of these things. To the point where yesterday I even just canceled my gym membership. I'm like, well, there's no point. I'm enjoying just being outside, just doing exercise at home and just figuring it out and realizing, okay, not as dependent as I really needed to be. So it's been fascinating actually from that point of view. And even though I talk about like missing family, missing friends, I've really enjoyed the other opportunities that have come up for connection, because before I wasn't on calls like these. And there's other groups I've found, other just online activities. And I've actually found that being really disconnected from a lot of people and a lot of activities has just opened up these whole new doors for being connected in other ways. So I'm really thankful for it. And I was freaking out a little bit that, oh shit, everything's starting to lift now. And I think as some of the other guys have said that it's like, oh shit, what now? But it's that same uncomfortableness of, oh no, I'm going to be out of control, or like what's next, and really letting the external things dictate. And I'm like, well, actually, just because like things open or people react or behave in a certain way, actually I can do whatever the hell I want. Like it really, if I do want to put myself in lockdown or not spend as much time outside, or if friends are trying to say, hey, let's hang out, and I'm like, you know what, I really don't fancy it, then it's a real opportunity to cultivate a new mindset. Won't be easy once everything's open, but I'm really excited to push myself. And the last thing is, my relationship had a lot of space at the beginning because my wife went to Belgium, and then we came back and we were really grateful to be together. Then we really started to clash and we were getting frustrated. And now we've both individually found our balance. And again, that's now bringing us closer together, and we're having a lot more real conversations. And yeah, so lots of excitement going on. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Des?
In many ways, I at the beginning, I felt pretty good about it. I understood the need for lockdown in the early stage. I recognized that although I'd heard that viruses develop and then they burn themselves out so many weeks later, I understood the message that it was highly contagious, and to the vulnerable it would rip through them, and it's a pretty ugly disease. I was pretty fearful, I have to admit, because although I'm not in my 70s, I have two major conditions, and I feared some computer or my GP would get a letter sent to me telling me I had to stay indoors, and that I was not going to do. Right from the start, I thought, no way, no. I don't mind my public hours to appear to be locked in and locked down and locked whatever, but I took advantage of my tendency to wake very early to go monastic. I got up early. And I would be out the door by 5:30 in the morning. And near me in Manchester, there are excellent canal paths. And I would walk 5, 6, 7 or 8 miles, even before breakfast. I'd get back, I'd make my partner his breakfast, and then I'd go to bed. But I also knew that although monasticism in a secular way did suit me, and I was feeling good about things, I was also aware of a lot of anxiety, loss of freedom, potentially, and Kenny, you've been running these lunchtime check-ins, and the days when I've needed to, I've checked in, and they've been real lifesavers because they provided an anchor. You know, again, a bit like the monastic prayer timetable. It was an anchor, and it helped me check in with some of you guys, as we're doing now in a way. I think politically it's a disaster, really. I think we should have protected the vulnerable early on. We didn't. We hesitated. And now I think people see through it. It isn't just Donald Cummings and his goings. I think it's evident that Boris is preaching a gospel he doesn't believe in. And I think, you know what, people are using any opportunity to go out now and either have a good time or join some genuine grievance politically or in sympathy with the racist murder by the police in the States. Domestically, my partner and I, we've grown a lot closer. I have my vulnerabilities, and he himself does as well. You know, he's Kenyan, he's diabetic, and my real anxiety peaked during Ramadan when he made himself ill with dehydration and fasting. And I pleaded with him, and I said, do not get sick, because if you get sick and you end up in the hospital unit, then you may be vulnerable to the virus. So we talk about things big time, and it's brought us very close. He's very good at pointing out when I'm harboring some anxiety. You know, I get terse. He knows when to challenge me. I do have a morbid fear of the immediate future. I think blame is going to become very powerful. People will want revenge. I think it will be a form of social suicide. It is burgeoning bankruptcy for many. I do have fears in that respect. But organically, I mean, I think in many ways it could bring good things to us in terms of less dependency on city life, pointless journeys to offices, expensive commutes. I think people will have picked up a few life hints that they'll take into post-lockdown. So it's a mixed bag. So it's a 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. So I'm okay with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Des. Adrian?
All right. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's funny. Each time I'm on one of these, well, it's not funny. It's actually serious that every time I'm on one of these chats, I just think, oh, gosh, this is nice. I spend a lot of time holding space for others, and it's really nice to just sort of be held or be held with a group of people. I've been feeling super stressed. I tried, there was a deadline I was supposed to hit last Friday, Friday, Saturday, and I just sort of blew right past it. There's just no way that I could pack in as much work as I needed to do within the allotted period of time. Like there's just not enough time. And my work is in the field of social justice. And so, I've been putting out fires with all the different grantees we work with, which I think is the most important thing right now, because there's a lot of people needing to react to what's happening right here on the ground. At the same time, I'm trying to work on an overarching strategy that has long-term implications. And I guess what I've been feeling is, to go to the thing about the past, sort of coming to the present. I remember when I was re-envisioning my business that I used to run and own, and it's like we had to pivot, we had to change strategies and all that stuff. And it's one of those things where I didn't want to sell myself short, so I said I'm not going to give something trash that's incomplete. I need more time, but I'm also being really hard on myself for taking more time. Because I see what's happening in the world, and I'm going, people need help faster. And so I feel a lot of pressure in that. I really don't want to disappoint, I think, myself to a large degree. At the same time, it is difficult during lockdown in this space. I've been so lucky. My partner, she and I we just get along. We're really great friends. We've been together for nearly 6 years, and we're best friends. And that's been amazing that she's been here. She's actually gone away for a week to catch up with her mom, who was feeling pretty lonely. And so it's just been me, which was great in one theory sense, because I needed to work on this work. So I'm just going to focus on this for a while. And it's also lonely. And it's also, I actually miss the office. I miss people around, that process of interacting with humans. This is amazing, and I definitely want to take the advantages of this into the future. I think that no one should be ever locked out of a conference ever anymore. If you're not Zooming it, well, what are you doing? Just getting access to all this great information to people is inspiring. So I'm seeing the silver linings. I'm also feeling sad that, as optimistic as I think someone said it earlier, like there's a lot of positive. I think Jamie said there's a lot of positive I saw that could come out of this, but now it's feeling like, oh gosh, everything's going to take a downward trend instead of the upward one. So I'm just sort of, I'm thinking about it all. I've been working most of today, so this is a good break. And I'll see what happens when Julia's back at the end of the week, because everything's looking really shady. And, just trying to, I don't know. It feels like it's doing this.
How do you feel right now?
Oh, right now, that's exactly how I feel. I'm feeling like I'm going in two different ways. I've been doing a lot of centering. I feel like I'm centered in my mission. If I have a mission, I can be centered around it. If the mission is apocalypse, get ready, I'm like, cool, we've got bug out bags, we're ready to go. Like, we can roll. Like, that's good. But in terms of how I just feel, in terms of feeling compassionate and empathetic for people, like, it's so hard for so many people that I just feel like, that's why the pressure, when I get sad, I want to help people, and doing this work is so important, but it just takes time. And so that's why it's like this loop, and that's why. So
Thank you. Thank you. John?
I'm just going to turn my fan off. I'm feeling quite hot. It's very hot in my flat, so I get the fan on, but it's quite loud. More broadly, though, I feel it's hard to say. Like, because I think a lot of the time I've been feeling nothing, or feeling very little, like feeling quite flat, not really like feeling much despair or misery or anything, nothing too negative, but nothing really joyful either recently. And I don't know, that's tricky. right now I feel quite relaxed. I've had a really relaxed day actually. I've been to the park and I've been listening to an audiobook and reading and just sort of staring into space up at the trees and the sky. So it's been a really relaxing afternoon. Lockdown and the COVID pandemic for me has been, I don't know, it's been a strange time, but I think productive. I guess for me, I'm kind of nervous about the future, so I'm thinking like time will tell how I've used this time to sort of learn about myself and grow, because I think there are elements of that has happened in the last 10 weeks for me, but I know like I'm a creature of habit, and it's hard to change the habits of basically my whole adult life. And one of those habits is to keep very busy and see lots of people and do lots of things. So I guess I'm a bit concerned I'm going to go back to that. But I think I've been trying to learn to be more independent and do more for myself and less dependent on other people. For company, for example, I've spent a lot of time on my own. I live alone, and that is a new thing for me. Like, I've never lived alone for this period of time. The people I was living with were Australian, and they flew back to Australia. Yeah, and I think that's been a pleasure, actually. I think I've learned that, like, I can enjoy this. I can manage. I can kind of thrive with it. I work as a mental health nurse for teenagers, so I've been continuing my work, and that's been, I guess, a bit of a godsend. It's taught me how much I value my work, both for like sort of feeling I'm doing something worthwhile, but also feeling I'm doing something like an occupation, getting out. And, you know, I'm in work 4 days a week and I work from home 1 day a week. And that's been great, but difficult as well, because we've had to change our way of working a great deal. I've come onto, I think, these check-ins like once a week, maybe, over the course of the pandemic, when I can. Taking time out of work to come onto them has been difficult, but it's been something I've done, which I think is an important thing for me, because I often put myself second to a lot of things. So yeah, I think putting myself first more and being more independent has been good. Yeah, I think that's me.
Thank you. Bertie?
I'm feeling good, quite tired, but yeah, good. I've just had a nice day, kind of soaking up the sunshine, met a friend, socially distanced, and also had a personal training session with Paul just before this, actually. I was feeling a bit queasy. We're kind of working on gymnastic stuff and like forward rolls and things, so, but I'm glad I'm feeling better now.
Online?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, and the lockdown stuff for me, I suppose, yeah, like the biggest thing, I feel like I have gone through a lot of grief through it, because I realized a lot of my identity comes from like physically interacting with people, and like my favorite hobbies have been like martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu, which I'm not going to be able to do them for quite a while, and I'm just got to kind of resign myself to that fact. And it's triggered various things over time. Like part of it brought me back to university. At university, I was very isolated and I didn't have any friends, couldn't really connect with anyone, and just going through some kind of heavy mental health issues. Another thing it brought me back to at times was kind of primary school, leaving primary school, and that feeling of like suddenly being alone, which I experienced, like on the last days of primary school or something like that. I remember clearly walking back home feeling like very much alone, because my friends weren't going to the same school as me. And doing the men check-ins for me, I've been doing them most days actually, 2 or 3 times a week probably, and they've been really good for me. Like Des said, like an anchor, just keeping me connected and kind of some kind of sanity check, and also just having structure is like really important for me, I've found, especially when I'm in the flat most of the day. And that's me.
Thank you. My name is Kenny. All in all, I'm actually feeling very, very happy. And this morning, I was forced to realize or to admit that I actually feel some fear as well. And partly it's because I've got a ball patch emerging on my chest. And my wife said, "What's going on?" And I had to admit that when I've been thinking, I've just been pulling at the hairs on my chest. And it's been like, I didn't realize it was mainly here. I thought I was doing it evenly and I was trying to aim for the grey ones, but it didn't work that way. But it's, I guess, relieving stress and relieving anxiety. And right in the beginning, when I isolated after Bertie said that he has the symptoms, so I did it a week early, and it flashed me back to being a child in Uganda and being on the Idi Amin's death list. So the isolation and that we could be a danger to other people if they were in contact with us kicked in. And it was very, very familiar, but I didn't feel re-traumatized. I kind of felt like I know this and I recognize this, and maybe it all happened so I could be useful now that we go through this, whatever this is. So I put on the check-ins every day. And then the next layer of that for me, I think, is something that some of you have talked about, and that's been missing my friends. And then I phoned a friend a few weeks in, but I almost wanted to punish him. I was angry at him, or I was scared of him, and I was kind of like flicking through Facebook rather than connecting with him, and I just didn't get it until I've kind of got into that feeling and I followed it back. And it was back into when we got on the death list, and suddenly I couldn't see my friends anymore. No more school friends, church or anything. And we weren't even in our own home. We had to go into hiding. And I realized that all my life I'd never say goodbye. I'd pretend that I'd see people another time, and I didn't have those boundaries. So that's kind of another layer of what's going on. And then recently, I'm really surprised at, I generally stay away from the news. My wife deals with that, and I'm better with people and doing my thing, living my life and thinking, how do I want the world to be? But then the whole thing in Minneapolis, I'm shocked at how that affected me, in that I wouldn't even remember it's Minneapolis. I didn't watch the video. I couldn't put the video on, but just to see it and know about it shocked me. And after refugee camps, we were the only non-white family in the town that we were brought up in South Wales, and they were wonderful to us. But there was a strange, and this is the 7-year-old in me, who was around people that had only seen white people before and didn't know if we were cannibals or Red Indians or what was going on. And it was, what if they enslave us? Or what if they realize, and then someone's house clearance, because we had no possessions. And I ended up looking in these very, very old encyclopedias, and there was stuff about the difference between people of color and white people. And it was really quite shocking. I'd never seen or heard anything like that. And I didn't know what to do with it. I was scared. And I thought, how do I protect myself? How do I protect my family? Is this what all these people think? So there's another layer of being triggered. And what's really important, I also feel like crying a lot, so I drink. What's really important for me is that when we're triggered, we can talk about it, because if I hold the fears in my head or the anger or whatever it is, then I might go down a rabbit hole, or I might take it out on my wife, and I'm shacked up and locked down with my wife and we're getting on incredibly well. But who knows? And I know what it's like when the red mist falls in front of my eyes, or my father's eyes, or my friend's eyes. It's not even us anymore. It's someone or something else has taken over. So my wish is for us to check in and just make sure that we're okay, and just hang out together, like Duncan was saying, even just to retain sanity and to be okay, and then to get on with our lives. So I guess we're probably over time. What we do next ordinarily is see who's sitting on what, or what has been triggered, and go deeper into this all within an hour. But I think what I'll do, if it's cool with you guys, is a 30 seconds that we pretend is 2 minutes, and then we can stop recording, and then we can carry on hanging out. So here we go. I had so many fantasies that was someone's budgie, or someone locked up their puppy, or surely it's not someone's squeaky wheel. I don't know what's going on, but it was nice.
Oh, I didn't realize you could hear. That's probably my grandson Bobby. He's into using his voice in different ways.
Is that his voice?
Well, he's 2,
I thought it might be a kid noise.
For some reason, he's doing squeaky, high-pitched noises a few minutes ago. And sometimes he shouts the top of his head, which is quite hard to take. But he's quite expressive.
I wish I were more expressive, and maybe I'm going that way.